Headers and footers are fairly simple to insert into your document. Basically all it means is that you want something in the header to repeat at the top of each page within your document. And you can see down in the lower left hand corner on the frame window here, page 1 of 5, so I have 5 pages. I would like the musician Phil Collins to appear at the top of each page, and let's say maybe the left hand corner. So to put his name so it repeats without having to type it at the top of each page, I'm going to go ahead and insert or go into the header section here. To do so, I want to click on the Insert tab here, come over and click on the Header button. You have a couple of different types of fancy headers with lines and colors and stuff, but I'm just going to make a clean header by clicking on the Edit Header link. And then up here, just go ahead and type in the word Phil Collins. It's that simple. When you're done, just come up to the Contextual tab, which is totally dedicated to your headers and footers with different types of groups, and we'll cover some of it, and click on the Close Header, and I'm back. So I can click and scroll down, and you can see Phil Collins is at the top of each page. And that's what headers do. They just duplicate. If I need to get back into headers at any one point, I can either go back to my Insert tab and go to Header to Edit Header, or what I'd like to do that's a lot quicker is just to simply double click on the header section. Double click to get out, before, after. As you can see that the header's now faded because it means that I'm not in edit mode for the headers. Of course, it'll print just normally, like regular text, just clear on your documents, but again, it's just to denote which mode you're editing, either the document here or when you double click in the header mode editing the header. So right now Phil Collins is a little bit too close at the top of each page to the rest of the text, and what I want to do is give him some space or bump him up on the page a little bit more. So I can come over to the margin of the header here and hover over the white light blue border there so I get a two-way arrow, click and drag with my mouse to give it some more space. I don't want it all the way to the top because I don't have a printer that will actually print within 1/millionth inch of the border here, so I do want about 1/4 inch. And then if I need to, I can hit enter and kind of give it a little bit more space between the top and the bottom. And then of course if I click and drag, it updates all the rest of the headers. I like that because it's got some space, a little bit of space between Phil Collins and the rest of the body of the text on each page. Now, what if I don't want on my first page Phil Collins? With any document or book, generally speaking, the first page is going to be your title page, and you don't want the title of your chapters or anything else up in the header. So what they do have up in the design tool for your headers is the options of checking that you want a different first page. The moment you check it, it deletes anything in the header and also the footer of the first page, and it denotes with the tag here that this is a first page header, and it's different when you scroll down from all the rest of the headers on the rest of the consecutive pages here of 2 through 5. And you can see that, just generic headers, generic footers, but it lets us know that the first page is a separate header. How about if we continue on real quick? You can toggle between the header and footer of each page just by, if I'm in the header, I can come up here and navigate and go to the footer of page 1 or go to the header. If I go to the footer, I can scroll down and come to the top of the header of the next page and go to its footer. Because what I want to do is I want to add page numbers from page 2 and on. I don't want the page number on my title page. And so to do that, let me come to the Home tab and turn on my codes. And it looks like I got some hard returns I can delete here. What I want to do is I want to insert a page number at the bottom of the footer. So I'm still in the edit mode. My design tab is here still, so I can click on it and come over here and click on the page number. And let's do it at the bottom of the page. You probably can't see this, it's really faded here. This first pre-built sample has the page number over to the left, this one's centered, this one's to the right. Let's keep it simple here and select right. So it adds it there, that looks nice. If it's too close to the text again, I can come over here to the margin and with my mouse hovering over that line, light blue and the white, click and drag the margin down. Gives it a little bit of space there, and if I need to, I can hit enter a couple of times to maybe push that margin up, or come down here and hit enter a couple of times to push the number 2 up. In any case, you can play with your hard returns there. I'm going to add one there and maybe delete some of these other hard returns. That looks like it's plenty of spacing. And I can look and check on the rest of the document here, and there's page 3 and page 4. And of course, it's not going to be on page 1 because it's a different first page. Is going to be different from the rest of the document. So if I type anything up in the footer here or on the first page in the header, it's not going to duplicate on the rest of the pages. Go ahead and close it. And I can go ahead and scroll down looking on the outside. Of course, I can turn off my code so it looks a little bit better. There's page 2, that looks nice, and page 3. Okay, let's get a little bit more advanced here, or actually advanced as I'm going to get in this training video, is now we know we have different first pages of our document, so anything we put in the header or footer of the first page doesn't affect pages 2 on. You could also have alternating pages within your document, just like you would in a book. Let's say on all the even pages you have the title of your book, and on all the odd pages you want the name of the author. So to do that, I'm going to scroll down here, and let's double click on page 2, the header, so we can bring up our contextual tab, design tab, and I want to check different odd and even pages. Now the moment I check that, it's going to delete whatever's on the even pages, but if you scroll down you'll see on the odd pages it's kept the title, Phil Collins, and also the footer as well, the page number. But it doesn't have it on the even pages because again the even pages are going to be different from the odd pages. So up here I can go ahead and type in my name and say I'm the author. That's going to be in there. If I do want to have page numbers on all the even pages, that's simple. Just go ahead and click Insert, and let's have it at the bottom of the page. In fact, let's do something a little bit fancier. I'm going to scroll down through these samples here, and let's see. I've got, well, this is nice. You can't see it, but probably, but it's page 1 of 1, or on page 2 of how many pages within the document. In fact, let's do that so it's aligned over to the right. I'm going to select this. There you go. Now it looks nice. It's bolded. And when I'm finished, I can go ahead and close the header and footer, and then let's take a look. I'm going to scroll down, nothing on the first page, because it's a different first page from the rest of the document. Now all the even pages will have the name of the author in the upper left-hand corner, and in the bottom right you'll have page 2 of 4. Odd pages will just be Phil Collins, the artist, and then just a regular page number, page 3. So we're getting there. That looks really great. The question that I have is that if you're really going to create a training manual or a book out of Microsoft Word, usually you differentiate or you section off pages, groups of pages by chapter. So let's say up until this point, the first 4 pages, and you can see down below page 4 is all devoted to Phil Collins. Let's say from page 5 on I want to talk about a new rock group, the Dead Doornails. So to do that, if I go ahead and I come down here and I create a new page by either clicking on Insert to Blank Page, the problem with that is that it's going to continue on with the previous section by adding the same header. Now if I come in here and double click and I change it to Dead Doornails, it's going to delete everything up above in the previous section or in the same section and call it Dead Doornails, so that's not going to work. So what I'm trying to say here after I close out the header is that you can't simply insert new pages. You have to insert a new page that not only gives you a new page, but it sections off everything before that page. So it says, look, keep all the headers and footers in the top section up here different from the bottom section of pages down here, so we can actually delineate between our chapters. So this chapter up here is dedicated to Phil Collins, and anytime we look up at the top of the page, there's his name. And then down below, anytime we look up at the top of the page, you'll have Dead Doornail. I want to go ahead and hit the backspace and get rid of that page there, and I want to insert a special page. To insert a special page that will section off the pages above from the pages below, I'm going to go to my page layout and I'm going to do a break. Now you got basically 2 different types of breaks. I mean, you got your page column and text wrapping, but the page break is what you normally do, and it just, you see right here, it's just continuing on with the page break. Now these section breaks actually section off the pages, and this is a great example because you see the break between the pages as you normally do when you scroll through the pages behind here. Well, if you look at the top page here, or the bottom of the top, it's got it in gray, the lines, and then the beginning of the new page is actually sectioned off, so anything that you make changes in here as far as the headers and footers go will not affect the pages up above. So it lets you know that you're talking about different types of features here when you actually do more than just a page break, but you actually insert a section break with that page break. So go ahead and left click on it. Boom, look at that. That's great. It's not carrying over. I know it's working because it's not carrying over Phil Collins' name in the header. And also if I look in the footer, it's not carrying over the page numbers. Do yourself a favor so you know what section you're in, because if you scroll through here, all you see is pages. You don't know which section where it's sectioned off because all the pages look the same. Down here on the stat bar, you want to right click and check the section. When you check it, click off in a blank area and you can see I'm now in section 2, and if I click up here, I'm in section 1. So it's sectioned off. Pages 1 through 4 are one section that won't affect everything from page 5 on. Now I can come up in here and double click somewhere in the header and start adding the dead doornails. Now here's something you want to keep an eye on. When I double click in here, it brings up my design contextual tab, and I got a different first page, right? Well, not only do I have a different first page from the actual first page in the book, but now because I add sections, it wants to say this is a different first page for all the pages within section 1, which is 4 pages. And I scroll down here, and it's saying this is the beginning of the first page for all the pages that are beginning from this point forward in section 2. So this is going to be different. Now I can leave it blank because usually at the beginning of like a chapter we don't put on the first page the title of the chapter for the dead doornails. I mean, we could leave that blank. And I can go ahead and close out. And what I can do is I can insert another page within the same section. I don't have to do a special insert page because I don't want a third section. I want this second section to remain all the pages below within the same section, so I'll just do a normal page break. Boom, still the same section. Now here's something interesting. Remember within this second section, the very first page up at the top, it's a different first page header for that section. But when you scroll down to the second page within the second section, you can see here, it's pulling now information from the first section, my name. Well, what's going on? Go ahead and double click on it, and here's the culprit. It wants to link to the previous section. Is that good or bad? Well, maybe I am the author for this next section, so maybe that's okay. So I could say that's fine, close out. Let's insert another page break. Hold down the control key and hit enter, and I get another one. And looky there. When I double click Phil Collins, I've got 3 pages in the second section right now. And it's linking, the culprit's linking to the previous section, section 1, and it's pulling in Phil Collins. It's okay on the even pages where it has me as the author because I'm going to be the author throughout all the chapters within the book. But for this section, it's going to be about the dead doornails. So if I come in here and I delete Phil Collins, that's going to be a big no-no because it's going to delete everything that's linked to in the previous section. I don't want it to do that. So I'm going to click it to unlink it. Still leaves the name there, that's okay. Just means that when I type in my dead doornails that it's not going to automatically update the previous section. So let's take a look. Let me prove it. Let me close out of here. Okay, I'm in section 2. You can see it down at the bottom, and there's now 7 pages. So we've got 5, 6, and 7 that are in section 2. So there's 7 dead doornails. The header and footer is saying this is page 2 of 7, which I don't like because this is talking about the second page in the second section. I'd rather have it actually, as you click up here, within this page, page 6 of 7. So I want that to say page 6 of 7. We'll take care of that in just a second, but I want you to see that now, beginning at the top of page 7, dead doornails does not affect. And there's the author, Kurt Kershaw. And there's nothing on the header of the first section. And then, of course, it comes up and it keeps everything normal. The author, Kurt Kershaw, and then Phil Collins. So now you can see I got 2 different chapters. When I print this off, it's going to keep them separate. So those who are reading the first 4 pages are going to know that they're in the Phil Collins section, and then those who read pages, 5 on are going to be in the dead doornails, and they'll be able to look at the top and see that. As I was saying, the page numbers are throwing me off just a little bit because it's saying this is page 2 of 7. That's not correct. This is page actually 6 of 7, but it's starting to renumber it by section. I don't want it to do that, so what I'll do is I'll double click in here, and I will come up in the page number, and I want to come down to format page numbers, and I say that I want to continue from the previous section, and then click OK. Now let's take a look and see what happens here. There we go. There's page 4 of 7. There's page 6 of 7. Obviously, because this is a different section here, let me come down here, that it's actually carrying those different types of page numbers throughout the footers. But it accomplishes what I set out to do. Instead of starting all over again from renumbering the section by beginning, this is page 2 of 7, I was actually able to say to page number, go ahead and let's continue from the previous section. Let's continue on counting the pages. Let's not have it separated from different sections. So this is twofold. I'm going to close out of the header and footer. Overall, a brief summary of this is just basically say that the most important thing that comes to when you want to create headers, different headers for certain groups or sections or chapters, the keyword is section. You want to section off each group by not inserting a normal page break, but coming up to your page layout and insert a special page break that includes a section break that will section off the pages from other groups of pages within your document. Thanks for watching. Hey, as a quick reminder, if you like my video, please give it a thumbs up. You can also click on me and subscribe to my channel, get notified of the latest videos, and for only $2 a month, you can have access to all my Microsoft Office training videos.